recipes for technical trading success in Cook's Kitchen.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Cook's Kitchen. Time for a dive into the biotech charts. I've got a handful of them, and there's a common theme here. Basically, neurology, central nervous system, and companies that are working on Alzheimer's, which everyone's failed at. Right now, let's just look at the broad market in biotech. And so I'm showing the IBB, the NASDAQ Biotechnology Index. And, you know, I like, we'll talk about this rally this year. More important right now for biotech investors is, are we putting in some good lows here? And you look at this chart and you see, yeah, we've had this NASDAQ correction, in Feb, into March, and biotech seems to be finding some good support here. IBB 145, 147 level, having a nice little bounce today. Let's look at the XBI because that gives us a closer look at the smaller players, right? So XBI is equal weighted, the Spider Biotech ETF. So it, takes out the big weight of an Amgen or a Gilead or a Regeneron, and so we can see, what is the impact, what's happening with the small companies, where most of the juice is, right? Emerging biotechnology companies in, phase 2, phase 3 trials with something new that, could give them blockbuster status. Similar sort of picture, but not as not as enthusiastic as the big caps, right? So when we look at it on an equal weight basis, the XBI is trying to find a bottom here, say 127, but not launching off of that. And so let's look at one of the big casualties, and it happens to be in biotech. It happens to be in the CNS area. CNS is central nervous system, and that would be Acadia Pharmaceuticals, of which I was a victim. We'd owned this for a while at a good level. We're enjoying the run up into the 50s, and then data was not conclusive. They treat Parkinson's disease, specifically Parkinson's dementia-related disease and psychosis, and they were going into a new area, and the drug was found. The FDA had some issues, and Acadia basically has to work with the FDA to find out what they need to fix. But I just wanted to show you them as a casualty, and part of what would drag this down. So why did we have that big run up in the IBB? Why was biotech on fire? Well, I sort of thought it would be. Everything was working in the market. So in December, I was trying to buy everything I could, everything I could think of that, especially as you head into the big event in early January, is always the J.P. Morgan Healthcare Conference, where many new M&A deals get announced. Often, it's been the case. One year, January of 2018, I had 2 companies bought on a Monday morning. That was Juno Therapeutics and Bioverativ. That's rare, right? And we didn't get any buyouts. But there was also the short hunting, the bear hunting in lots of small stocks, not just GameStop, but it was also happening in your biotechs. So, a lot of forces converged in a bull market to drive the IBB up here strongly. So let's look at some of the big winners. And we actually had one, and that would be Anavex. AVXL is the symbol. And so, we were in this at $4. We got the run. It got all the way up to like 28 on the one day in just that blast of short covering. And I decided to sell because I knew it was all part of the short covering game. And so we cashed out at 20 for like a 330% gain or something. And I still like it though, because this is a player in working on something for Alzheimer's. So these companies are rocking, and I'm going to show you another one that I just bought today. Today is Wednesday. You may not be watching this video until Thursday, but I bought another central nervous system neurological player with an idea to treat Alzheimer's. But let's look. I'll show you the one I bought in a moment. Let's first look at another rocket this year in the same space, and that would be Cassava Sciences. Cassava Sciences went from under $10, and I note that because my colleague Brian Bolin, who runs a portfolio called Stocks Under 10, did buy it under $10. Saw this thing go to, oh my gosh, what was the high here? It was above 100. It was like nearly 120, like 117 or something. That's what this thing rocked to. Obviously, another bear hunt, short covering, massive squeeze. And now Cassava Sciences is down here. Let's go to the big dog in Alzheimer's, and you'll get an idea of why, Alzheimer's is like the holy grail, and nobody's come close. And the biggest player that's still trying is Biogen. They have a drug called aducanumab, I think is the correct pronunciation. And they could end up, look at this big spike here in November. The stock shot up massively from basically 225 to 375 on what was perceived as positive data. And then apparently that was quickly put on the shelf. But they're still a player. And to give you an idea who's given up, Pfizer at one time was working on Alzheimer's. They gave up. Alzheimer's is hard to, we still don't know the cause. There's research into these proteins that build up as plaque in the neurons, but we don't know the exact cause. So discovering a treatment has also been difficult. All right, so let me show you the central nervous system stock that I just bought. And there's a good story behind this one. Aksum Therapeutics. We're buying it here today. Just hit new 52-week lows down at $50 yesterday and today. And I think that's offers a good risk reward opportunity. Obviously, there's still risk. The thing could get cut in half if data doesn't pan out. But let me go to a weekly chart on this to tell you my story about letting this thing go way too soon. So back in, must have been 2019. Definitely. Yeah. I bought this stock at $2.50, and I don't know why this chart isn't showing it, but back in 2018 or 2019, I bought it at $2.50, and I think I bailed on it for a triple. It was like a 200% return, $7.50 or something. And then the thing flies up above $100. Spent some time up there. Well, of course it was volatile. But now it's come back, and this is even after they've released some good data. So just one to look at. I'm not saying rush out and buy this, but again, another small central nervous system neurological player with they've got a drug in narcolepsy. They're treating treatment-resistant depression, because that's a diagnosis, TRD, treatment-resistant depression. And they also have a candidate in Alzheimer's. So again, Alzheimer's continues to be the holy grail there. All right. What else did I want? Well, so we talked about, what are other ways to play if you don't want the stock specific risk? Do you buy XBI here? I think you do. I think this is a good time for longer term investors. Scale in, you could start a position here in XBI under 130. And, if we head into a deeper correction, look what so I'm looking at a weekly chart here. This is, we've come off quite a bit off the highs off of 170. I don't think the NASDAQ is going to have another 10% correction this spring, summer. Maybe we'll get one in the fall, but I think we have a pause in May here. So I think it is a good time. And so XBI would be a low risk way to do that. If you wanted to add some leverage, you go with the 2 times long for the IBB, which would be BIB. If you're really courageous, you go with the direction 3 times bull, LABU. But you can see that the way these things work, the way the gearing works, is they're going to reverse more. You can't really chart these things. So I'm looking at a weekly chart, but this thing is back into levels from late 2018, early 2019, just because of its leverage. When the leverage gets unwound, that's how much it gives back, even though the indexes like IBB are not back to 2019 levels. So that's something to keep in mind. All right, so we've looked at a lot of the CNS neurological stocks: Anavex, Aksum, Acadia, Cassava. We looked at the indexes. One last thing I want to look at is Jazz Pharmaceuticals, which is also a CNS neurological player. And this is a weekly chart, and this thing's looking good. We got ripped out of this in probably during the Corona crash, and what a shame it was. They specialize in sleeping disorders, waking disorders like narcolepsy. So they're a primary drug. And this company is insanely profitable. I mean, it's trading like a 10 PE, 3 times sales. Both top and bottom line I think the top line's growing at 25%, and the bottom line's growing at 20%. And who did they just buy? They bought the only company with an FDA-approved marijuana drug. I should really call it, officially it's, cannabinoid, but that would be GW Pharma. Has the only FDA-approved drug that is derived from cannabis, and they use it to treat epilepsy, childhood epilepsy, believe it or not. And this is no fly-by-night company. This company was started in England by 2 gentlemen whose initials are G and W, and they have been working at this since like 1998. They've been, they've done their homework. They are most likely to have the next FDA-approved cannabis-derived drug. Jazz paid about $7 billion for GW, and I think it was a steal. So you're going to continue to see innovation, in the central nervous system space. These are some of the charts to watch. And, if you don't like the company specific risk or you don't understand the company, again, just look at the XBI. All right. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen. We'll talk to you next week.